Welcome to the Manager Matt podcast show. The show is designed to give you solutions to your day-to-day management and leadership problems. It's hosted by Matthew Haddock, a frontline manager and leader with over 25 years of experience. If you're ready, then let's get on with the show.
Hello and welcome to the Manager Matt Podcast Show, a weekly podcast show designed to help you as a manager and leader unlock your potential both inside and outside of work with the ultimate aim of delivering the results you need. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the show so you'd never miss an episode and share it with anyone else you think might get the benefit. Right, without any more delay, let's get on with this week's show. Hello and welcome to this week's show. Hope you're all well and managing as effectively and efficiently as you can to get the results that we all strive for and need in our business and home life. So this week we're going to talk about monkeys. No, not primates, unless you are a monkey manager of some sort, as in a zoo, which is fine. Thanks for listening to the show. But actually we're going to be talking about the monkeys that we get in work as we go through our day. And I think as soon as I say monkeys, most of the people listening will understand what I mean. But for those who don't, let's just explain what a monkey is. So a monkey is usually somebody else's work that finds its way onto your back. So there's this sort of theory of the idea of monkey management and being able to manage the monkey, because what happens is you end up getting their work and they don't end up doing any of the work, or they're waiting for you to make a decision on the work that you've done. So, and it can easily happen because most of the people I meet, and most of the managers I know and work with just now and in the past, are nice people. They want to help. They want to do what they can. And most of them are experts. So if you go to someone and say, oh, I've got an issue with this, or what do you think this is, or what can we do about this? They'll give you a great answer because they're nice people. They want to help. But the thing is with leadership is that doing is part of it. But delegating is one of the most important business skills you can learn. And your ability to delegate is largely shaped by your experiences. And one of the experiences you probably find is you become such a nice person, you're a yes person, and that's not negative. You start to do things for people. But however, there are core skills that you can improve to keep effective and efficiency, to avoid the common pitfalls of gathering monkeys through the day. And there's been a number of books read. If you put in monkey management, or monkey business, or leadership with monkeys, there's plenty of them out there. And usually what the monkey is, it's an action needed to be done to solve a problem. So it's usually something like that. And it usually starts with, hey, we have a problem. Or, oh, what do you think we can do about this? Or, I need something done about that. And it can come from all angles. You've got your peers that can give you monkeys. Your boss can definitely pass on monkeys. But actually, your directs are very good at monkey passing. And that's what happens is you come along, you walk along, and all of a sudden you bump into 2 or 3 people as you walk, and they want to talk about something. And you end up getting their job on your back. And so before you know it, you've walked down the street and you've come back with 3 or 4 things to do. You know, you think you've got your work. You probably spend all day thinking, well, why ain't my work getting done? I've got all these jobs to do, but my list is not getting any smaller. But everyone else's list, is becoming my list. So you're becoming more and more frustrated because you can't get yours done, but you've managed to adopt, if you like, a number of monkeys from everybody else. Now, some monkeys are very quick to deal with. If it's something like, oh, can we get some new coffee for the canteen? Well, is that really my issue for a start? But yeah, of course you can just get on with it, unless it's the most expensive coffee in the world with gold leaf in it. But I think most people wouldn't have that issue. But what happens is you get given these monkeys, and a lot of them do take time. And even if it's not a lot of physical time, you've got to start thinking about the mental time. Because what happens is the mentalness, the energy you need to take to make things happen, means you're switching away from your task that you were doing. Now, some people think that you can do this idea of, multitasking. That certain people and certain genders or certain, types are better at this idea of multitasking. Well, it's all a bit of a fallacy, really, isn't it? I mean, when you think of it, you're multitasking, you can't do more than one job at a time, realistically. I couldn't be reading a book while talking to you on this mic. You can't really be reading anything whilst having a conversation. So you can't be doing you're reading emails while you're having a one-to-one, for instance. And you certainly shouldn't be driving whilst texting or messing with your phone because your brain can't do it. So you can think you're the best multitasker in the world, but you're not. Your energy is switching from one task to the other. So realistically, you want to keep focus. So if you adopt some people's monkeys as you're walking down the office or in the meeting, you think it's a simple task. But actually, your brain's got you've got to flick between the two, and you end up stuck with that monkey. So how do we stop collecting monkeys? Well, don't leave the office and lock your door and don't answer any calls. No, obviously not. That's not how life works. You are going to bump into people. Naturally, as a leader, you want to talk to people. Naturally, as a leader, and respected sometimes as an expert, you want to be taking counsel or taking the opinions. But how do we end up not getting them? Because sometimes you can adopt them without even realising it. You can bump into someone and they want to talk around, you're going somewhere, for instance, you're in the middle of a rush to a next meeting, as we all are these days, but you've got 5 minutes, you go for a coffee, you meet someone and they go, "Ooh, I've got this really important problem that I can't seem to fix, and if I only knew that," and before you know it, you're thinking, "Oh, well, let me have a think about it, and let me get back to you on that one. I've got to go to this meeting now, but let me have a think about it." The person thinks they've given you the monkey, and you might not know it, but it's stealthily snuck onto your back. So what do you do about that? Well, first thing is you've got to have a clear understanding with your team about the idea of delegation and what roles are what. So start with number one is knowing what people's roles and responsibilities are. So if they've got a certain remit to do and manage, you expect those people to manage that remit. Now, obviously, you're going to be talking to them about things and you may offer advice, but it's theirs. It's not yours. So when they come with, "We've got a problem," the first thing you need to be saying is, "We've not got a problem. You've got a problem, and I'm here to help you. But we don't have a problem. The problem is still yours." So you sort of make sure that you're setting that out in the start with your people is, "I'm here to help, I'm here to support, but I'm not here to do. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to be making those decisions." If there's something that's higher up and we need to have a decision made at a higher level, which is outside what you feel is your controllables, then that's fine. But actually, you don't end up giving me that. And that's pretty straightforward. I think that's something you should be talking to your team about. But there's actually another set of rules for managing monkeys, which I'm going to go through. And these are the idea of making sure people don't get frustrated. Because, of course, if someone's passed what they think is the job to you, and you've got the monkey, and then you don't do anything because you've not realised you've adopted this monkey, then both parties are frustrated. The first person who was the monkey giver thinks that you're doing something and they're waiting for you because you're usually the manager. And of course you've not done anything with that because you didn't think it was yours. Or you've spent a lot of your time doing that, which has meant that your jobs aren't getting done and your boss is asking you why things aren't getting finished. So let's look at how we can manage them, the rules of them. So, there is good news. There is some simple rules you can follow to manage the monkeys. Rule number one is to describe the monkey. Give it a name if you like, but you're going to describe it. So this is a dialogue between the manager and the staff member that must end up with an appropriate level who identifies clearly what that is. So if we're describing a problem, and in our first instance we're saying, "Oh boss, I've got a problem," and you're going, "Well, let's describe this problem and let's see whose problem it really should be. Where does it lie?" Because just having the blanket, "This is not my problem, it's yours," doesn't get you very far, and you soon get people very much switched off to you as a leader if you just keep saying no. But you're just basically saying to the person, "Right, okay, what is the problem? Let's have 10 minutes, but let's not do it now. Let's not do it in the corridor unless it's something so urgent that needs to be done now. I'm going to go do my normal, but I'll come back to you on this one, and let's talk about exactly what the issue is and whose responsibility it is." Now, just having that first rule number one of describing the monkey and naming the monkey, you're then giving it the fact that person can go away and think, "Actually, is this something I should be fixing?" So you're saying as a manager, "I'm not going to take that just now because I'm just a little bit tied up, but I'm going to come back to you. So let's have, say, I've got half an hour meeting, I've got 5 minutes after it, let's have a meeting, let's discuss where that meeting, let's have a quick catch up, not a meeting, but let's describe where the monkey's going to be. Let's make sure that the staff member and yourself have got the appropriate level of doing it, and you're clear about that." So that's rule number one, is that describing the monkey. Rule number two is assign the monkey. So all the monkeys have to have owners. You can't just let these monkeys run amok, because obviously there isn't going to be no ownership and the problems are never going to get fixed. And remember, a monkey is a problem that needs fixing, if you think of it that way on. So you've named your monkey you described it in the first rule. Now you're going to assign it. So you have to get together. You've talked around what your monkey is. Then you're going to say, right, who needs to handle this? And of course, as a manager, you need it handled at the lowest level in the organisation, consistent with the welfare of the monkey. So you want to make sure this problem is at the right level. Every level has its own rules and its own way of working in your organisation, and each level have its own authority to approve and do things. But when you make sure the monkeys are at your right level. My first example about types of coffee, should your managing director be involved in that? Probably not. So when you're talking about assigning the monkey, which is the number 2, is having the new owner, making sure they want it, and it's at the right level to fix it. So that's rule number 2. Rule number 3 is insure the monkey. So you've got to make sure that if you're being given a monkey, that you're going to look after it, make sure it's right. But also on the other side is, if that monkey's been left as agreed in the other first 2 rules with the person or the right level, you've got to have an insurance policy that it's actually going to be looked after, that this problem is going to go away. Because what some people think is it's not really my problem, I'll just ignore it. The worst thing you can do is just ignore a problem, because it's going to get bigger. We all know that. If we leave it long enough, it'll get bigger and bigger. So make sure you're insuring it. So you want to make sure that there is a recommendation of the act that's going to happen. So you're basically saying who's going to be actioning this, which is rule 2, but when's it going to happen, who's going to do it, and what's going to be covered in that. So you've got an interest. Now, obviously, because it's not your monkey, in some instances it won't be, you're going to leave it up to the direct to fix that part of it. But you've still got to have it at the back of your mind, because if they've given you the time to go to you with an issue, then they obviously want to make sure that it's getting resolved. So there's some insurance policy in there. And rule number 4 is to make sure you do a health check. Check up on the monkey. Do a health check. Make sure that every one of these monkeys or every one of these problems is sorted. Because, as I've said earlier, the problem that you think is a small problem will still get bigger and bigger. Monkeys that are cute little baby problems are going to get bigger and bigger, and then you've got a gorilla on your back. Sorry, I know monkeys are not technically gorillas, they're in apes, so don't email me in around that. I'm not into mammal biology in any way, but it works for this instance. So those give you a chance to look and say exactly where your monkeys are going to be over the time, and that makes it easier for you to find a home from. So let's look at this. So if you follow some simple rules about monkey management, they will stop problems growing onto you. They will stop these monkeys jumping onto your shoulder and you getting overwhelmed. So it is all around firstly, be aware of monkeys are in there, which is the first point of this. So making sure you've been aware, make sure your employees understand what you will and won't be involved in. So your roles and responsibilities, the accountability and responsibility matrix, which we spoke around in other casts. And then you've got your rules of engagement around the monkey. Rule number 1 is describe the monkey. So make sure that the staff member knows it's at the appropriate level. Number 2 is assigning the monkey. So you make sure the owner at the right level is organised and looking after it and consistent with the monkey welfare. Number 2 is insuring the monkey. Every monkey leaving you on the back of one of your other employees must be covered by one of the insurance policies around making sure that the acts themselves get done and they're followed through, so the problem gets sorted. And rule number 4 is check the monkey. Proper follow-up means that the healthy monkey, every monkey should have a check-up appointment to make sure that it's sorted out, especially if in some regards, and remember, you're going to be doing this, you're passing your monkeys to other people. So if you're passing a monkey on, you're going to make sure it's right. So that gives you a bit of an idea of how you can do monkey management. And even though we spoke about monkeys consistently through this show, which is fine, remember this is about delegation. So it's an important business skill that you will learn to delegate to the right level in your business. So although you don't want to attract monkeys, you're also going to make sure that you give the monkeys away. And a monkey is an action that needs to be done, a problem that needs to be solved. So these are things that will reoccur throughout your working life because you can't get away from them. Now, there is a few things you need to make sure that you do, and we spoke about them. But if you want some more reading on it, there's many books out there. Managing the Monkey, Who's Got the Monkey, The 1 Minute Manager does a one on monkeys. So have another look, see what else is out there. But if you are struggling with a monkey and your monkeys are turning into zoos, you really do need to start by reflecting on the fact that it's probably you that's attracting them. So they don't just grow legs and jump on your back. You're the person who is obviously attracting them. Well, that's it for Manage Matt this week. So thanks for listening, and as always, please send me your feedback, not just on apes and monkeys and orangutans, but on any subject I can engage in around management and leadership. I'd love to get your feedback because feedback's a gift. So send it to managermattpodcast@gmail.com. I answer every email myself, I'd love to engage on some old and some new topics and something out there, or just general questions around the show or myself would be great. Okay, well, that's it for Manager Matt this week. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to this Manager Matt podcast. We hope you found it interesting, helpful and actionable. One last thing, please leave a quick review on iTunes or with your podcast provider, as it helps to spread the word of Manager Matt. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you did like anything in particular, send an email to managermattpodcast@gmail.com or visit managermatt.co.uk for more content. Feedback is a gift, so let's keep giving. See you next week.